You're nothing but a hooligan. Back to Don.
Okay, and we'll be back with more right after this timeout.
Wake up prices at Tom Peterson's, our best Whirlpool
TV 12, Portland.
From Portland Sports Arena, it's Portland Wrestling. Brought to you in part by Tom Peterson's at 82nd and Southeast Foster Road. Good evening, everybody. I'm Don Cost, your host for Portland Wrestling, along with Dutch Savage. Dutch, what a wild we're going to have tonight.
Billy White Cloud and Tia, Tapu Stasiak, Rogers the Sheik, Billy Jackson, Colt, Rose and Party. Buddy Rose is here, folks. Don't go away. There's going to be some outstanding bouts coming up. Hang on to your seats.
You better believe it. We'll be right back with all the action after this timeout.
Brown. All this free when you buy the RCA movie player for only $2.99. That's at Tom Peterson's during our Christmas sale.
Don Owen just introduced our first match tonight, the great Tia, with his back to you, and Billy White Cloud.
I wish you a Merry Christmas. I wish you a Merry Christmas. Guess who's in town?
You sing that, because I can't even talk on it.
Buddy Rose is here tonight. You folks are going to get a chance to see him. The great star from Madison Square Garden. Seems to me Buddy Rose made his name and claim to fame here in the Pacific Northwest, but since he got back there, his head got a little big, and now he's demanding that the people worship him.
Somebody asked him the other day what he was doing here, and he said slumming. That's what he said.
Yeah. Billy White Cloud. Great Tia. In case you just tuned in. Out of a referee's position into the ropes.
And that referee is Sandy Barr.
White Cloud's in the brown trunks. Tia's in the reddish trunks, and he just takes White Cloud down with a handful of hair off a headlock.
Yeah, I think Barr caught that one. Yes, he did.
Did you see that list of things that Don Owens has given us for the holiday season starting this coming Saturday night, you folks? Remember, there's not going to be any television this coming Saturday night. You won't see Portland Wrestling on television. But there will be one of the largest cards of the year here at the Sports Arena, Christmas night. That's December 25th, Saturday, Christmas night, 8:30, one of the biggest cards of the year here. Buddy Rose is going to be on that one, too, so... Listen, keep listening, and we'll be telling you more about the details later on.
In fact, I can't remember. Well, maybe you can't either. When they've had so much to talk about, so many major things coming up.
While we were talking here, Tia shot White Cloud off. White Cloud came off the ropes with a flying body press. Tia kicked out, rolled out on the floor. Tia, a huge man, 260-odd pounds. What he claims, but he has legs on him like a horse.
And he can move.
You people have to excuse my voice tonight. I think I'm catching a bit of a cold here.
That's Tia with the upper hand and foot now right on Billy White Cloud.
That's perfectly legal. Yeah, Tia does look a little bit like Wolfman Jack, doesn't he?
Is that a compliment, or?
I don't know. You can take it where it lies. Wolfman Jack's one of the biggest DJs in the West Coast.
Well, like you say, we can say that because we're 45 feet away. Well, you saw it.
There's a head scissors by Tia on White Cloud. You know, those knee pads that White Cloud has on, those are European. You won't find anything like that in the States. Those are made in Europe.
Well, he's putting them to some pretty good use right now. Oh, what a beautiful move to get out of that head scissors. Well, Tia can't quite believe what just happened there. He had a great hold on him. All of a sudden, he was gone.
You can't take your eyes off your opponent for a second in this business. White Cloud just glanced at the referee, and Tia unceremoniously dropped the knee right in his abdomen.
Boy, there was a shot right in the throat of Billy White Cloud. And the crowd here doesn't think that was all that much of a legal shot to the throat.
I was over at the Winterhawks game Wednesday night when Mr. Yaremchuk put the skids to the people from Nanaimo, and lo and behold, I looked across the ice skating arena, and guess what was sitting directly across from me, almost the same level? He was up in the general admission seats, though.
Who was that?
This huge blonde behemoth in a green and white outfit. It's the Playboy Buddy Rose.
Oh, we don't. Oh, look at this now. Oh. Beautiful move, takedown by Billy White Cloud. Oh, drop kick.
Okay, welcome back to the IWAR Network Tubecast. Part 2, a very special part 2. We have Matt. Matt's not feeling sick anymore, so he's back with us. How you doing, Matt?
All right. Yeah, I'm all right. I'm getting there.
You took your Midol?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Yep. I took my Anacin.
It's little. It's yellow. Is that the yellow one, right?
I think so. I remember there's that one. There was the I've got a headache this big, and they'd have their hands held out.
Excedrin headache number 9 or whatever it was. I remember that one too.
Yeah, and was it Tylenol that killed people? Was that the one?
They all I think Tylenol was the one that killed people.
Yeah. It's always like at work, right? So we sell black licorice, and every time I see black licorice. About 4 years ago, maybe right before the pandemic, this guy up here in Massachusetts who apparently loved black licorice ate like a case a day. He got poisoning because there's some chemical in black licorice.
I'm sure there is.
It killed him.
Jesus Christ.
So every time I see it, I always want to have a sign made, this flavor is killer. But they'd probably not allow that to happen. So
not at all.
Yeah. Oh, Mike Swanson's back. Hey, Mike.
So, Mike, how's the audio? I got a new cable, guys. So I ordered it last night after the Tubecast. I got what they call a Y cable. So what a Y cable does, initially it was a USB in. So, but now I just went directly into the audio jacks and I used a Y cable. So for the mic, the work has to go into one audio output, and for the headphones goes to the second audio output. So hopefully my microphone sounds good. I hope Matt's volume is okay. Coming in glad and clear. Good, fantastic. Yeah. I dig that.
All right.
So, Matt, what's going on IWAR wide?
Well, let's see here. I sent out an email earlier. Frank kind of covered this, but so all you listeners, faithful listeners, I got to kind of do this in staggering levels. So first, the thing is the IWAR fall events closed out. So starting off, Punk Rock Mike's 498 edged out Double R Rob Ratliff's 496 to win the Bound for Glory. The Tag Team Derby was won by the McFlaherty brothers, who defeated Millennial Reign. McFlaherty brothers pulled out a 5-16 to win it. The Triple D Cup 6-man tournament, the Michigan Border Patrol edged out McFlaherty brothers and Uncle McAllister. And then a stunning upset. The Royal Family of Doom from the BBL were upset by the Western Trail League's Cahoots. Senior Lucha, Outlaw Ace and Eights, Cowboy Jim Spur, Vin Perez, and AJ Singh defeated him by like 10 points. So the War Games went to Cahoots because they are in cahoots.
I hate all of that, by the way.
Yes. So I wanted the worst stable name I could think of. So the winners of these events, except for the Cahoots folks, went on to challenge for different titles in the IWAR Championship. So with the Magic Clash 17, we had the Revolution Championship held by Scapegoat out of the NWL, was defended against Hillbilly Kevin and Punk Rock Mike. And Punk Rock Mike's 498 crushed them both to win the Revolution Championship. In the World Trio, we had kind of a pickle because the Michigan Border Patrol, who won the Triple D Cup, were also already the IWAR 6-man champions. But because of the scheduling, that didn't work out very well. So I just said that they beat the Uncle McAllister, McFlaherty brothers in the finals, and everyone goes home happy. So, weren't.
Fair.
IWAR World Tag Team title, which is currently held by the Chameleon and Shotgun James Carnage, who won that as a result of the Lethal Lottery Tag Tournament, faced the McFlaherty brothers, and the McFlaherty brothers 516 came through, captured the belts. So good for them. Truly the year of the McFlaherty brothers. And then in the IWAR World Championship, Senior Lucha, who famously recently defeated Double R Rob Ratliff for the championship belt, was defeated by Mike freaking Mason, who is now the new IWAR World Champion.
It's that son of a bitch.
Yep. At Magic Clash 18, he will defend against Flashy Jack Ferdinand. And I should mention that starting about 3 cycles or so, we're going to do a thing where instead of doing the old, like we pick people out of the trash talks, it'll be the 7 IWAR leagues will have a representative, and that representative will be the commissioner champion. So the top commissioner champion will be slotted in those first 7 spots, and then the IWAR commissioner, i.e. writers and commissioners such, we will pick a 8th person who will be like kind of like a representative of trash talk and be a good doobie. And then those 8 will battle out for the next spot to challenge the championship. So there's a process in place.
Okay.
So that was the Magic Clash results. Do you want me to just address Battlegrounds? How we're going to kind of basically make it you'll see what happens type thing? Because
we'll bring that back over at the end because we're going to give them a little peek behind the curtain as we figure out what we're doing moving forward.
All right. So in the BRL, Battlecade 19 went down, and here are the results. So starting off, we had Flashy Jack Ferdinand defeating Stevie Vertigo in the Mask vs. Mask match. Barbed Wire defeated Alligator. Tsuyoshi Mizuku drew Monster Truck Tanaka. American Destroyer defeated Awilda Kleinsteiner in an electric cage match. The number 1 contenders shot for the global trios was a draw. Royal Family of Doom versus Grandiose, Docs, and Boulderfist. So what I'm going to do is just have them rematch next cycle, and whoever wins that will go on to face. If they draw again, I'm going to blow the teams up.
Okay.
The other global trio champions, the Mannequins, turned back to Polar Circle. The team, the trio comprised of little people. So Lobo, the 3 names we hate to pronounce.
Yes.
Then we had the number 1 contenders match for the global tag belts. The Armed Forces defeat the Hillbillies. And then the global tag championship, the McFlaherty brothers turned back Ricky Salt and Robert Pepper. The 2 number 1 contender matches for as a reminder, if you're not familiar with the BRL, the North American Championship is defended against 2 wrestlers at the same time. It's always a trios match. And so Dark Danger defeated Hawaiian Heartthrob in 1 qualifier, and Mark Justice defeated Fatty the Butcher in the other. And then the North American Championship match, Squeakums the Clown Squeakums the Clown, the champion, was defeated by Big Guns Greg Garner, and Edge 26 also lost that one. So Greg Garner, congratulations. It's been a long road to the championship belt there. And then in the Global Championship, LePage Turner defeated Ghostly Shadows. And I had mentioned earlier in one of the chats that the BRL was possibly going to be rerun. And then after further conversation, I said, it's not, I'll explain it later. So what happened was this. Ghostly Shadows rocked a menacing 463 strategy.
Jesus.
Yes. And he did something I've done. I think everyone in the game has done this at least once. And what he did was Jason put 2 placeholders for hold value to be 28 and 1 hold value to be 26. But he didn't put the values in. He left 26, 28 in there. So he got 1 point from one hold and 9 points from the other. So he took like a 50-point hit. That obviously 50 points would have made him a 496. So or like whatever, right? So just devastating timing. So but he figured out he had forgot it was his mistake. It wasn't IWA's mistake. So they didn't replay the matches. But that is what happened there.
NWO got replayed though at 12:30 at night. It
did, although it was only replayed once. There was a miscommunication where they messaged me again. I thought it was a third time. I was like, holy shit. But that NWL is fine now. So 2 other things. There was a match with Dixon Ticonderoga and Adam Cash against Rob Ratliff and a mystery partner. That mystery partner is the new number 1 pick, King Khan. I won't go into it. You'll have to read the results. It'll be worth watching and reading. And then the Elimination Chamber, we will reveal who wins that next cycle, which I like to do anyways. Like it's a little bit of suspense. But that's going to be the new number 1 contender. So whoever wins that Elimination Chamber will go to WrestleRama and challenge LePage Turner for the Global Championship. So that's that. So that was all the stuff there. I did mention that the 2024 year-end nominations have opened up. About 6 people have sent stuff in. Please, 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 please send me nominations.
Yeah, don't be a dick.
Every league, you can do like, oh, I thought this guy was the best. That's fine. Just mark off the leagues, the names you want to nominate for those awards. The more names, the more things you give us, the easier our job is. And it's one of my favorite, most hated things to do is the year-end recaps with the awards. That does basically recap kind of the year, but I need input from you guys. Second thing going on, the IWAR spring events will be opening up soon. So I've already had 2 emails from signups. So send me who you want to have in the Johnny B Cup, the Murano Memorial Tag Team Tournament, and the Lethal Lottery Trifecta. So there's information about these things in the IWAR magazine. So feel free to go read that. And if you also want to see, third thing here, the IWAR draft. You can see the results of the IWAR draft, the trades that were made, who went where, and where they ended up. So it's a little cool thing to see that. So I believe that's all the IWAR stuff.
All right, man. I dig that.
Damn right.
Now, guys, there's a special treat. I'm going to test something this evening. I've been playing around with stuff. So I wanted to see how this would go over. Please, guys, give me your inputs. We have Trash Talk recaps that have been recorded, and we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it goes, and tell me if you like them. Tell me if you don't like them. It doesn't recap everything. It does most of it though. So this is a beta test. So we're just I'm gonna hit play, and we're gonna see what's going on with these recaps. So we're gonna start right now.
This is Lance Catamaran. Let's review the CWL's Trash Talk. Luther Alexander's verbal jabs. Luther criticized Barry Stevens, calling him a phony opportunist who exploits societal struggles to justify his superiority complex. He also belittled his rivals, including A.J. Hammer, Norman the Loon Kevkus, and Double D Christoph, with his signature sharp wit and disdainful tone. Luther mocked Logan Kane for not being good at karate fighters and made bizarre comments about Alexander, his clone. Greggy Money's challenges. Greggy Money requested a significant opponent for nuclear fallout, expressing readiness to face Norman the Loon, the American Patriot, or Future Man. He boasted of his marketability and projected himself as the top pick for the upcoming IWAR draft. Barry Stevens' passionate promo. Barry reflected on his career and aspirations for 2025, hinting at potential rivalries and new storylines. He also maintained his crusader-like persona, emphasizing his commitment to justice and wrestling excellence. A Jay Hammer's assertive statements. Hammer emphasized his destructive intentions, aligning himself with the Broken Diamonds Club BDC. He dismissed Luther Alexander's theatrics and proclaimed his readiness to make a significant impact. Johnny Walker and Phil Landers feud. Johnny Walker interrupted an interview with Phil Landers, making a bold statement by physically mocking Landers. The tension between the two set the stage for an escalating rivalry. Logan Kane's manipulative tactics. Kane framed the Chameleon with fabricated allegations during an AMA session, leading to the Chameleon's arrest. This added an unexpected twist to the ongoing feud, casting Kane as a cunning and deceitful adversary. Double D, Christoph's stable aspirations. Christoph expressed his desire to join New Money Inc. and revealing his intent to target AJ Hammer. His promo showcased his ambition and disdain for his rivals. The Von Snaps' bold claims. The Von Snap family promised dominance in the six-man tag team division, expressing confidence in defeating the Nutty Bunnies and securing the titles. Millennial Reign's confidence. As reigning tag champions, they called for a Tag Team Appreciation Month, highlighting their successes and dismissing challenges from the syndicate. Royal Family of Doom's momentum. RFD boasted about their members' achievements, emphasizing their dominance and mocking the syndicate's attempts to dethrone them. Zeb Martin's mishap. A humorous moment arose when a dump truck full of chicken livers meant for Martin accidentally damaged Mike Mason's Ferrari. The promo teased the animosity between the two, leading into nuclear fallout. Professor Algernon's pragmatism. Algernon displayed resigned confidence, stating that while Phil Landers might eventually best him, he would enjoy victories until that time comes. Various call-outs and challenges. Numerous wrestlers laid out challenges and threats for nuclear fallout, from grudge matches to title aspirations.
Okay. So, quick question for you, Matt. I tried to share my Skype screen with you so you can hear it.
I heard both. I'm still hearing the other one.
Oh, it's still going through.
It stopped now. It's okay.
Okay.
So here's what happened. When you did that, I heard the audio, but I can just turn the audio up on the YouTube channel and hear it that way too.
Okay. So I don't need to do that. Long story short.
So I can hear it either way. So
okay.
It's fine.
Okay.
I was trying to figure out where the audio was coming from. Like, where's the audio coming from? Yeah.
So we'll stop.
That was good. I liked it. I mean, granted, it's a second round type thing.
Yep.
But lots of potential here. And we talked to you pre-show about, like, we could do two shows where one show is kind of the, it takes time. I don't know how much time it would take to actually do the trash talk.
It would probably take place for me to do it for all 9 leagues. It probably is going to take me like a week. So, like, the way I would do that was I would run it and then run it back. Say we would have a second Tubecast the following Tuesday.
Yeah, I mean, that's not bad. I mean, if you're doing it like that, and like I said, I can just turn the volume up on the YouTube itself and hear what the players hear. So while I can't hear it through Skype, I can hear it on the broadcast. So any one of us, if we were more than us here, we could do that. I think it's a good device because it recaps it. And the voice is clear and distinct. You can hear what they're talking about. The pronunciation's off here and there, but that's fine.
The IWAR. Sometimes you got to do stuff phonetic.
We butcher as many names as that will, anyways, so that's fine.
So let's take a listen to NWL's recap.
This is what is going down in the NWL. Swamp Sock Jr. and Star Sock Sr. Swamp Sock Jr. and his comedic partner Star Sock Sr. delivered a fun, lighthearted promo celebrating their bond as champions. They performed a playful rhyme and emphasized their unstoppable cosmic family dynamic, promising an entertaining defense of their titles against Arcane. Their humorous and quirky style got a huge reaction from the crowd. Ozzy Deathstrike. In a serious promo, Ozzy Deathstrike declared his intent to return to competition after shaking off ring rust. Standing tall at 6 feet 10 inches, he called out the entire locker room, issuing an open challenge to all competitors and champions. His final line, "I am Ozzy," Nuff said, set the tone for a bold comeback, accompanied by his Metallica entrance theme. Kamikaze and aggressive intentions. Kamikaze reflected on his successes, including being a 2024 Buried Alive champion and other accolades. He commented on the influx of new talent, dismissing them as cannon fodder, while focusing on continuing his dominant run. Kamikaze took subtle jabs at competitors like Jim Nist and mocked the Joker's trio with humor, solidifying aggressive intentions' focus on maintaining dominance. Scapegoat and aggressive intentions. Scapegoat opened his promo by addressing his draft to CWL and the implications for those who traded him away. He warned his rivals, including Lazarus Lane and Samantha Soley, that the price of your atonement will be paid in blood. He also called out the Von Snaps, daring them to prepare for his wrath, and ominously hinted at an unresolved conflict with Gene Poole. Battle Royale Chaos by Broken Diamond Club, BDC. In a chaotic segment, Chris Healsborough and the Broken Diamond Club interrupted the main event, Battle Royale. The BDC decimated competitors in the ring, including Lucky Dice Vegas and others, asserting dominance and leaving destruction in their wake. The segment ended with Healsborough challenging Nick Cage to face the Samoan Devil, Keola Fuavai, in a future match. Mysterious segments with Gene Poole. A dark and cinematic segment introduced Dr. Gene Poole, involved in seedy dealings and owing debts to a shadowy figure. Poole's interaction revealed his desperation to escape his current predicament, promising chaos as he worked to regain his power. This bulletin highlighted the diverse blend of comedic antics, menacing threats, and intense rivalries that define the NWL, pushing stories forward and building anticipation for future confrontations.
All right, that was the NWL. So, Matt, what are your thoughts about the NWL?
Yeah, pretty good. I think I mentioned before too. I think maybe different voices for each show. I know how hard that'll be. But,
No, I just have to create them. It's like some of them, like they have some, and then sometimes you would put in a description of what you want.
I think Ryan would like to have Gilbert Gottfried do the recap for ECW.
You know, not for nothing, I would have done if I could figure out a way, and I probably will at some point. It's like, oh, let me do Gene Okerlund and Sean Mooney and Tony Schiavone and do it that way.
Mm-hmm.
Just to see how that looks and how that sounds. I mean,
That's
if you're on Twitter, I think it was an OVP podcast. They have the ones with Bobby and with Gorilla Monsoon that are really good.
Yeah,
it's something to think about moving forward. Like we'll have a different, we could go into like a different correspondent, right? It's like, here's so and so for the RTL. And he recaps that. So. And our last test subject will be, I think it's IWL, the last one I did. We'll take a listen to that one.
This is what is going down in the IWL, Old and Windy promo. Cold and Windy introduced themselves with street-style energy, expressing gratitude for their draft into the IWL and announcing their intent to dominate the tag division. They specifically targeted teams like the Graces, Fathers, Americanos, and Regulators. WIMS segment. WIMS shared an emotional and motivational message about his journey through life and wrestling. Father Arturo and Conrad promo. Arturo reflected on their faith-driven mission to succeed in the IWL. They addressed several opponents, including Ultimo and Excelente Astro, and the New Kids, with a mix of respect and challenge. Arturo proposed a best-of-7 series against the Regulators, aiming to settle their differences and prove superiority. The Litigators' victory speech. The Litigators celebrated their newly won League 6-man titles. They credited their victory to a level playing field enabled by their influence and ridiculed the regulators. Uncle Slam segment. Filmed in front of the Lincoln Memorial. Uncle Slam issued a patriotic challenge to Galim Tursanbayev and Father Arturo, emphasizing American resilience and determination. Death Valley Drifter golf course fight. Death Valley Drifter clashed with Father Arturo Bartolo. The brawl escalated when Ultimo and Excelente Astro drove a golf cart into Arturo, knocking him out. Dacia Chiasi promo. Dacia Chiasi introduced himself to the IWL, highlighting his dual identity as a music mogul and wrestler. He promised to prove his dedication to wrestling despite skepticism about his background.
And that was the IWL. James Jensen said we need Morgan Freeman's voice. It's like, yeah.
I don't know when they started using steel chairs. Yeah. I mean, it could be I think the more recognizable voice, the funnier it's going to be.
Oh, for sure. For sure.
No, I just think it's a good device that kind of recaps. And again, if I'm at my computer and I'm just like early this morning, I listened to the show from last night while I was working on result stuff, and it's a good thing to do. But also recap wise, if you were driving in your car, you can hear it and absorb it. It's a way to get things and ideas. Just things here like they destroyed somebody's Ferrari or did this. I'm planning to have 2025 be the year of nonsense. I'm gonna bring back a lot of old fun sneak attacks. I miss doing those.
As Darren calls it, the Luther effect.
Yeah.
Shit just goes haywire. He gives you kind of permission to act crazy. Like, oh yeah, I want to act crazy. Everyone else act crazy too.
Well, Jimmy Jensen's brought a good point about the AI use. I think Alex did a great job with it. I think what's good about this is we had a kind of, I wouldn't say a snap moment, but R.I.P. Tim Clark. Tim did for a while. It was kind of the forerunner for using AI.
Yeah.
A lot of his promos had the artwork, and then it had the writings. And the problem was that the writings were strong, but each one said kind of the same thing. And this AI is doing is taking what you guys all give us and encapsulating it. It's actually one thing I noticed on Amazon. If you shop on Amazon right now, right? You go down to the review section. At the bottom is an encapsulation. Most people found this, blah, 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 and they did not like this. And that gives you kind of a way to look at it and go, oh, okay, people, size is always wrong, whatever. Well, TT-wise, this saves us a lot of time from having one, not that reading is bad, but time-wise, if doing the show Tuesday night, I get home from work, I'm not really spending time reading it.
So I get home at work on Tuesday. I get home probably around 5:30.
Right.
The show starts at 11. Still got to do stuff with the family, eat dinner, and by the time we get to 11, we've skimmed it at the very
right.
The very. And then Johnny B brought up the point. He's like, why do you guys do them on Tuesdays? And that was basically public demand to do them on Tuesday. People wanted it that day.
Right, so but I think too is getting the results. I'm just kind of talking about while the strike while the iron is hot is good. Yeah. But then saying a week later we're going to have a show and just do basically, it's more what we're doing is would be just kind of narrating. If you watch those you watch a wacky movie on TBS and they have Jason Biggs and he's like, let's go back to the movie. Well, the IWAR, the TT recaps would provide that. And like I said, it's a time-saving measure that also helps trim it down. And one thing it does too, right now we're missing a couple here and there, but with refinement we'll get it all. Whereas in the past we've done Tubecasts. And I knew I wanted to talk about player X's, thing and forgot about it in the moment, Then you're like, oh, I meant to talk about that.
And we do this live too, guys. You can understand that too. We do this live.
Do over car. So I think this is a good little device, and I think, it'll take a week to do it, but it's worth it in the end.
Yeah. Think about AI. AI is not creative. So
no, I was saying the other day I saw a really good interview with Ben Affleck. Yeah. And he was asked about AI, and he had a really good take on it. And he said he compares it to an artist versus a craftsman, meaning a craftsman, you could have an understudy, right? They can watch you build a table and how you sand it down and do this and do that, and they can replicate that. But they can't just come up with a creative design on its own, but they can copy it. So you can get, similar looking stuff. I've used AI for the D&D campaign I do, and what I do as a kind of running gag is all the NPCs they run into that are worthwhile. Like Mark Hamill is the captain of the ship.
Yeah.
Like I just use Mark Hamill's face, and I'll say like Mr. T is one character. Mike Tyson is his orc warlord. So it looks like an orc. You're like, that looks kind of like Mike Tyson. It should. So granted, in the game, I'm trying to find ways to incorporate AI that are time saving. Like from a side note, like for instance, we were doing the wrestler creation lab for a while. But what was happening was I'm getting like 10 requests over the span of like, let's say 2 or 3 months, right? Of those 10 requests, it might take me like an hour and a half, 2 hours to make each wrestler. We're losing like 8 of those players.
Yeah.
So I've just wasted my time building wrestlers for guys that aren't playing. So I was trying to think of a way like maybe AI can come together. And I can say to players like, if I can find the right prompts, I can at least give them a basic generic look for their first wrestler, but that's, it takes time, and like the thing about AI I find is that the more you play with it, the harder it gets.
Because for you guys that you don't know, I did the first. I guess it's the first. I did the first match write up using AI today.
Skynet has become self-aware.
No, I did the first. The first match I did was Red Scorpion 2 taking on Red Scorpion's best friend Doug in a Prince of Darkness match. So I'm sitting there and but also keep in mind I wrote a page and a half in prompts. So it's a page and a half of prompts. Like I'm writing it like, so I'm not telling it. I'm not writing the match write-up, but I'm telling it what should be in there.
Right.
So like, oh, it should have this, and it should have this, and I did it. It came out really good, surprisingly well. Then I did the Luther, 7-match gauntlet.
Right.
That was almost 4 pages long. The thing that's different about that is the AI wasn't as detailed as I would have liked it to be. So it didn't give me a full match. It gave me recap each match with like a paragraph instead of giving me the entire write up, which is what I wanted. So we might go with that. Just in the just for time saver, or I may go back and try to do it again.
I will say for me, I am a fan of the like match recap. I used to write the dialogue, the banter, etc. The inside jokes hidden in the thing.
Yeah.
And that's fun to do, but it's time consuming. And people will say, well, so I'll volunteer. Well, I just find like, if you don't set expectations and like, you're sitting there on Sunday night going, oh, I need to write 4 more matches.
Yeah.
I like the recap. I put the process, but again, that's the thing about the game. You can go to different leagues and some leagues might have more full page write-ups. We've had match write-ups as long as, that's right, 14 pages.
It was 16, buddy.
Oh, was it 16?
It was 16.
Man.
Thanks, Killer Clown.
But the good part is that it was 16 pages, but it launched long and illustrious IWAR careers. Oh, wait, it didn't.
Yeah.
They quit the game right afterwards. Or no, it was a year after, right? They were there for about a year.
James says, I'm down to help on that front. I got 20-something wrestlers built right now in WWE. We can upload straight to the online creations and WWE 2K24. With shared resources, we can have a pretty deep library of built wrestlers ready to use for all sorts of things.
Yeah, that's a good point, too. Like we talked about this a little bit offline.
Yeah.
I recently purchased the new game, that game, so I have it, too. I went to crack it open. It was like, it took a day and a half because my computer's so slow, my connection here. Yeah, so it's finally fully loaded. What I'd like to do is I'd like to, like you said, build kind of a base core, if you will, like IWAR All-Stars or whatever. And it might be something like, well, let's start with, Commissioner Champions. Let's start with whoever, and kind of go from there. But I don't know about this one. James will probably be able to tell us in a second. But I know in the 22 version that I had, there was a limit of like, I want to say 40, 50 wrestlers. So I don't know if that's still the case or not. But again, between the two of us, we could make a lot of wrestlers. And then what I'd like to do eventually is what Bob Rogers did back in 2014. He made an online like YouTube commercial for the IWAR network, which had all the various wrestlers, like, clips of them, walking the ring and all that crap. It was great. I'd love to recreate that and make that part of the show, even as part of the intro for this show.
Absolutely. So you might be asking, like, hey, I have a retro wrestling games channel. Why don't I do that? The reason why I don't use creator wrestlers, like for WWE 2K24, is that when I did the NWA 1983 project, when I did the 84 project, I did most of those wrestlers. A lot of them either were super edited or done from scratch. So I did, like, in a span of 2 years, maybe like 300 creator wrestlers.
Yeah.
And these are like, they had to be like specific. So like if I'm doing Mid-South Jim Duggan, it has to be specifically a specific way. Or if I'm doing Madden TA,
Mid-South.
and I did arenas, and I did the whole nine. And I got burnt out from doing it, so I was like, nah, I'm not doing that anymore. Let me find a different way. And for me, it was like when I figured out Luther as Stallone is an inside joke that I used to make all the time back in the day, where I used to make a joke about Rocky IV, like Ivan Drago doesn't really look Russian. He looks more like Swiss or Norwegian or whatever, right? And he is. Right. Rocky looks more Russian than Drago does, in theory, right? He's dark hair, smaller guy. Eastern European possibly could be mistaken for Russian.
Yeah.
So that's the joke. The joke is that Rocky looks more Russian than Drago does. So that's why I made Luther Rocky instead. So that's why he's Stallone. So, which I'm moving away from slowly, as he looks like Stallone, but he's not Stallone.
Right.
Because Stallone exists, but he has a passing resemblance. That's where we want to get to. So that's where like I'm going to. That's why like the new AI stuff, you can see like he looks like Stallone, but it's not a 1-for-1 copy. And that's the reason he uses the beard and that kind of stuff. A lot of it too to make it not so obvious, but obvious enough. James says, I'm not sure limit-wise I haven't uploaded yet, but once you're set up, we can experiment on sharing resources.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, like I said, I will have a week off in December.
Lucky.
So, yeah, I'm helping that week. So, I'll be, have downtime. So I'll have some time to actually do some design work and or prep work. And don't forget, everyone remember, after December 10th, we're going to run the results of Gold for December, and then we have 3 weeks off.
Yeah.
So in those 3 weeks, we
so
can do
Matt,
things
maybe
like,
you can answer the question from yesterday.
Yeah.
When's the last time since 1985 that we had an off week?
I wouldn't call it an off week, but back in like 87, when I first started, my first bulletin was like May, and then I got one from like, I want to say like July or June. Like it wasn't quite like there were some breaks.
Yeah.
It took a while, and then once they got it together, I want to say when the scandal of early league manipulation happened, I don't think anything changed, but they did shake up like the process. Like for instance, the way it used to be was that if you were in a league, let's say like there was no federations, but if you were in a league that processed in the second week of the month or the first week of the month, let's say it's all right. So let's say November 3rd, right? You got a bulletin. It was the same holds for the leagues later in the month. But if you knew how to beat the system, so what the people that figured out how to beat the system was the guys who got the values in the early part of the month would fax the numbers to their friends in other parts of the country, who would then use those strats to get perfect strategies or whatever. And they caught on pretty quick. It took them about 3 months to figure out like, whoa, how are these guys pulling like perfect strategy after perfect strategy? That was
why didn't we
ELM
even go? They wouldn't even like alter it slightly. Like, oh, I'm going to get a 499 instead.
Yeah.
Jesus, like
I mean, it's the greed system. It's like, dude, be smart about it. Like, rock a 493 and like, whatever. Anyway,
bro, if I all of a sudden hit like 501s in a row, I'm going I'm going to IWA jail.
Yeah,
That's it. So, they're gonna like, what the fuck?
Those guys, the guys that did it, they got kicked out of the game. But my point I'm bringing up is that story to bring up is that I think once they established like the federations, that was part of the process. So like the leagues that were like in the first part of the month became the Iron Federation.
Right.
The next part, blah blah blah. There used to be like 9 or 10 federations at one point. It was Quartz. It was like crazy federation names.
Was there a Ruby too? I thought I saw
I
that.
think
somehow.
so.
I thought I saw that Emerald. I don't know. I thought I saw that.
I have detailed files. I could dig it up, but I want to say Johnny B would know for sure, of course, if there was a file or something interruption. I remember they had a power outage there a couple times. They had a tornado this year, almost hit it. So that was they still got the gold out.
I wonder
Poor
if they
kids,
go
like-
on their annual field trip to the United States of America,
Skates of America,
which is across the street, or at least according to the Google map, down the road from the Dairy Queen.
Well, Luther Alexander's plan to become mayor. I think it would be hysterical if you actually submitted paperwork for Luther Alexander to run for mayor.
Yeah, so for those of you who don't know, that's like one of the gimmicks for 2025 taking place in ACW is Luther's run for mayor of Willowick, Ohio, and then Johnny B is going to be his deputy mayor, and then shenanigans will unfold. Clearly,
Shenanigans. Yeah, so
that's going to be a lot of fun. So NWL wise, so we're trying to figure out. So this is I guess our back behind the scenes segment here, where we're going to discuss what we're going to do with the NWL moving forward. And for me, me doing this a couple times already, for me it's always like, let's pull the Band-Aid off and make switches very quickly, and we're going to try to rush through because we don't want to break continuity, right?
Right.
So to not break continuity, we have to move very, very quickly into, obviously, the brand new report will be next cycle. And then the results for Battleground, it will be, I want to say, a light write-up based on sort of the results. And then we're going to move on because they're going to be brand new belts. But I'm not changing the champion. So whoever's a champion now will stay a champion. I will bring in new belts. We're going to crown those champions, and then we're going to have champion versus champion unification matches.
There you go.
So going into the spring. So that should be probably the unification, the Young Lions Championship and the National Championship will be unified probably at Rumble at the Bronx, which will be the springtime pay-per-view. In terms of everything else, it could get kind of hairy if we're not careful. And we have to make some changes with Battlegrounds because we had some inactive wrestlers. That's what's going on.
I was doing the numbers for the results, and there were at least 5 or 6 no-shows, some that went inactive, and it's like we were talking before. We like to do long-range booking, if you will, storytelling-wise, but you also have to keep in mind that the game's very fluid. So you might have someone we had a guy called the Patient Stalker who I liked a lot.
We never knew if he was a patient stalker or he was stalking people patiently. We never figured that out.
Yeah, but he wrote good promos. His promos were him watching other people's promos, and it's kind of fun. But also Pizza Roll Smith was great. He was fun to read. All of a sudden gone. And what we want to do is keep the league moving forward. So the people who are active now, who are trash talking, it's no secret you're going to be front of the line when it comes to when we're deciding who we're going to put in this match or who we're going to do this. And it'll be a little rough transition at least, a little bit at first, but we're going to do the best we can to make it easy to follow and just jump in and go. And you guys just do your trash talk. We'll work around it. But I've got rough notes here.
Yeah.
And when you read it, you'll enjoy the write-up for sure. So.
Yeah, man.
Surprise is coming.
I do have to figure out what I'm doing because obviously we have a brand new staff, so I have to lose the staff somehow. They all get hit by a bus or something. I don't know. And yes, guys, don't be afraid to email me. I started getting emails already, so keep on doing that.
Yeah, especially if they're on that little page that says email the commissioner.
Yeah. So I did get some feedback already from that. So
good.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be cool. Again, it's gonna be very quickly. So just kind of have to hang out for the ride here.
Right.
Because I think my report layout's already finished, so that's already
Nice.
done. Which maybe I'll pull it up if I have something. Oh, maybe I don't. Hold on. So any NWLers in the room right now? I know most people, from what I gather, most people do not watch us live. So if you have any questions, feel free that you can ask them in the chat. You can ask them in the comment section of YouTube. You can email me. You can find me on Facebook and send me a Facebook message. There's a lot of stuff that I'm not a hard guy to find, so don't be afraid to ask the questions. And there's no such thing as a dumb question, just dumb people asking questions.
Right.
So don't be afraid.
Darn tootin'.
So where is my NWO report? Is the question. It's not here. Any suggestions? I'm open to suggestions, and I know there's some guys that had interest in possibly helping out in the NWL in terms of stuff. So as I get through this process, we can talk about potential what we're going to do
Right.
with that. So let's take a look at the it's way too big. Let's take a look at the. Oh, I want to do that. Take a look at. Okay, screen capture. So I can show you. I guess I would call it a beta fill. Yeah, I would say beta form of this.
Okay. Everything's floating around.
Yeah, well, that happens. That happens. No worries. So as you can see here, ironically, I'm using Wrestling World as the kind of the cover here. I use magazine style, guys. It's what I use here. Obviously, it's not going to be Randy Savage. That'll be a picture of someone else. You can see over here, I'm working on the. This is a prototype for the Rumble in the Bronx. You can see Luther's face on the Statue of Liberty, which is nice. So that's a prototype for that I'm working on. We go into a welcome letter for new players. So this gives them a brief overview of what the NWL is, and just an introduction with my email, and that's going to be page 2. And we're moving right into the NWL staff. These guys are all here. These are some of the characters I've used before, and some characters I haven't. We have Luther in the middle looking all dapper. That's fun. Then I did a who's who here, so again, it explains exactly who everyone is in terms of the staff. So again, the staff is for you guys. So those are tools for you guys to use in your sneak attacks, in your trash talks. These are guys that you should be playing off of. Would it be a backstage interview or announcer or security or whatever? Referees here as well. So we have Alexa Ivory, which is the AI for the NWL. She will be doing the rankings, so you guys can get mad at me.
Nice.
That was funny. And then we have the poster A. So when I do posters for pay-per-views, there's usually 3. So there's a poster A, there's a poster B, and there's a poster C. So poster A is something fun. Just again, early on, we may not know who the main events or what wrestlers are going to be on it. So that's usually poster A is a generic. Poster B will usually have the main event on it, maybe a wrestler who's in the main event on it, and then poster 3 is normally a old school match poster. It has the matches on it. So those are 3 posters I normally do. Obviously, the first pay-per-view is Homecoming, which is it's a double entendre here. It's Luther's homecoming back to the NWL. It's also, again, going with that wrestling school college theme that we're going to lean heavy into. So the first event is called Homecoming. I guess I can announce it now. We're going to have a homecoming match. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna have some NWL alumnus come on back.
Uh-oh.
I'm thinking it's probably gonna be War Games ish. So
Alright.
you might have a team of NWL current roster and a team of NWL alumnus, and they'll get it on a 5-on-5 match inside the steel cage. So that's going to be a lot of fun. This one would obviously take place from the Nassau Coliseum. Again, just more information for you guys to work with. It's going to be in the plush and palatial Nassau Coliseum, which I will be in a couple of weeks when I go to Saturday's main event at the Nassau Coliseum. That's
Oh boy.
December 14th. And then this is the commissioner's address, or where I write kind of what's going on in the league.
Mm-hmm.
Because Luther's not going to be there very often because he's going to be wrestling in the ACW. He runs the league via Skype or Zoom. So you see Luther here on Zoom with all his cronies on top, and then with the message on the bottom. So
He's working from home.
He's working from home. Which I think I mentioned that in the so I said that Barry Stevens wants everyone to go back to the office and a Luther TT. So yeah, this is gonna be the rankings page. You have your national champion, Grand Prix champion, your tag team champion with top 10, and then a tag team top 10. Again, it's supposed to be very reminiscent to PWI. It's the clear inspiration for this. And there will be criteria for this ranking that AI will do for me to make sure that's appropriate.
Nice.
So that's the commissioner's report in a nutshell here. So that's what it's going to look like. Matt, do you have any questions about?
No, but I just wanted to mention Brad Turvey asked about his official time for Rusty Chains is up in July 25. Yeah, it was drafted W2L. What's your suggestion of moving to a new league? So I would say any NWLer can enter the draft, and that's fine.
Yeah.
But what you're allowed to do is finish up your time in the NWL, and then when you finish, you can transfer over. But you're still considered part of the contest, so you're competing in the NWL. It's still, the scores or your title wins go towards that too. So
now, and as a caveat to that too, and this is not necessarily a suggestion, but something you could do. Now, the limit is for you. The limit's not for your wrestler. So, technically, could you move Rusty Chains to the W2L and create a new wrestler in NWL? Technically, you could. 100%. That's something we're more than happy to allow, and you can do, because again, it's not per. If you had a wrestler and you were in for one cycle and you transferred them out and then created a new wrestler in NWL, that's okay. The flip side is that it's like you can't create a wrestler on cycle 15 and thinking you're getting another 16/17 cycles.
Right.
16 now because we lost the cycle.
Right. And they can also do, if they want, you could make a second Rusty Chains and send them to WTL, whatever you wanted.
Yeah.
And have them, like, there are some people in NWL that have like wrestlers in other leagues that use as kind of like practice or whatever.
Like Luther was in like 6 leagues at the same time.
Yeah.
Now you can't combine records. Let's be clear on that.
Right. So
you can't be like, oh, that's I'm going to combine them now. It's like you either have to graveyard them or you're going to have to change the name and it becomes another wrestler with that record. So that's the one that you can't combine. Bill Sloan asks, any changes for the BRL?
BRL changes, not really. It's pretty much it's in a really good spot when it comes to how it runs. Cycle every 4 cycles.
BRL is like a big cruise ship. Yeah. It's so big and it's so massive that changes and turns are going to be very slow.
Yeah, there's nothing major coming up that way. Trying to think anything we're doing in there. It's just such a big beast and there's so much going on. So nothing crazy with BRL wise. But I mean, you can always, if you had an idea and you're like, hey, can I pull this off? You can always contact me.
Yeah.
That's fine too. So
for sure.
All right.
Any other questions out there? What do you think Johnny B's favorite Christmas present was?
His favorite was laser tag.
Did he say that?
No, I'm just guessing.
I don't want him to be like, on Tubecast number 167, I said it was laser tag. I think it's going to be his first ascot. That's my thought.
His first brandy snifter.
His cigar minder.
Johnny B. Jr., you're a man now. You're 7. You need your first brandy snifter. Well, no questions and one less listener. Sounds like your cue to me to hit the sack.
All right, gentlemen. So thank you. I hope everyone liked the AI-generated TT recap. I think it's something we're going to do moving forward in the future. I have to pay money for that, unfortunately. You know I don't like to pay money on anything. I also had an Ultimate Warrior wrestling buddy. I used to use it in the pool because it would gain weight because it was heavy, and I would do wrestling moves on it. So that's James. Me too.
Nice.
Yeah, that cost me $5 a month now to do, by the way.
Wow.
Yeah. Now I got to pay for this ACW stuff now too. It's ridiculous.
That's right.
Ridiculous. All right. I guess we are officially out of time. So for Matt Riley,